Commander Marcus Blackwood had seen plenty of strange things during his 15 years in the Terran Space Force, but nothing quite like this. Through the swirling purple dust storms of Kepler 186f, his ship's sensors detected something impossible, a living creature, somehow surviving in the planet's toxic atmosphere. "Control, this is Pathfinder 7, he transmitted, adjusting his ship's trajectory to investigate. "I'm picking up unusual bioreadings in Sector 9. Permission to investigate." "Negative, Commander," came the immediate response. "Storm intensity increasing. Return to base immediately." Marcus hesitated, his hand hovering over the controls. In his gut, he knew something wasn't right about these readings. After losing his entire squad during the Proxima War, he'd learned to trust his instincts. With a quick motion, he disabled his ship's tracking beacon. "Control, you're breaking up," he lied, steering his craft toward the anomaly. "We'll attempt to maintain contact." As he descended through the storms, his ship's external cameras captured glimpses of something massive moving through the purple haze. The creature's form became clearer, sleek, serpentine, with iridescent scales that seemed to absorb and reflect the storm's energy. It was easily twice the length of his ship, with crystalline formations protruding from its spine. A Nexus beast. Marcus had heard rumors about these mysterious creatures, but most dismissed them as spacer myths. They were said to be ancient beings that could traverse space without ships, possessing intelligence that rivaled or exceeded human comprehension. The beast was wounded. Even through the storm, Marcus could see the dark fluid leaking from multiple gashes along its side. As he watched, the creature crashed into the planet's surface, its massive form creating impact tremors that his ship's sensors detected from kilometers away. Marcus landed his ship nearby, knowing full well he was violating at least a dozen protocols. The atmosphere outside was lethal to humans. He'd have only 30 minutes in his envirosuit before the toxic gases would start to breach his protective gear. "This is either the bravest or stupidest thing I've ever done," he muttered, checking his suit's seals before stepping out into the storm. The Nexus beast lay partially curled around a rock formation, its crystalline spines pulsing weakly with blue light. As Marcus approached, its massive head turned toward him, revealing eyes that glowed like captured galaxies. He expected aggression, fear, or at least wariness. Instead, he felt a gentle probe at the edges of his consciousness. The creature was telepathic. "You are not like the others," a voice echoed in his mind. "They hunt, they hurt, you observe." Marcus stepped closer, his hand raised non-threateningly. "I want to help," he said aloud, though he knew the creature could probably read his intentions. "You're injured." "Why would you help when you do not understand?" The creature's mental voice carried notes of pain and curiosity. "Because understanding comes after helping," Marcus replied, reaching for the medical kit at his belt. "I'm Marcus Blackwood. Do you have a name?" The creature's eyes flickered. "Names as you know them are insufficient. We are energy, thought, memory, but you may call me Stellaris. It echoes, close enough to truth." Marcus worked quickly, applying emergency sealant to the worst of Stellaris's wounds. The creature's blood seemed to shift between liquid and energy, making traditional treatment difficult. "Who did this to you?" "Those who fear what they cannot control," Stellaris responded, wincing as Marcus treated another gash. "Both your kind and others. They believe we are weapons to be used. They do not understand we are guardians of space itself." Marcus's suit computer beeped a warning 15 minutes of breathable air remaining. He worked faster, knowing he couldn't fully heal injuries this severe. "I can't leave you here," he said finally. "My ship has a cargo hold large enough, if you can somehow compress your form." Stellaris's eyes studied him for a long moment. "You would risk much to help me. Your leaders would not approve." "My leaders don't approve of most things I do," Marcus said with a grim smile. "That's never stopped me before." The Nexus beast's form began to shimmer, its massive body seeming to fold in on itself like cosmic origami. Within moments, Stellaris had compressed down to roughly the size of a small shuttle craft, still huge but manageable. "We are hunted across the stars," Stellaris warned as Marcus helped guide the creature toward his ship. "To aid me is to make yourself a target." Marcus thought of his lost squad, of the politics and corruption that had led to their deaths. "Maybe it's time someone started fighting back," he said firmly. "There are some things worth being a target for." As they entered his ship's cargo hold, Marcus knew his life would never be the same. He had just allied himself with a creature of legend, violated multiple planetary quarantine protocols, and would likely be court-martialed if caught. But looking at Stellaris, seeing the noble intelligence in those galaxy-deep eyes, he knew he had made the right choice. The storm raged on outside as Marcus lifted his ship off the surface, but for the first time in years, his path seemed clear. Sometimes the greatest adventures began with a simple choice to help someone in need, even if that someone happened to be a mythical space dragon. The Terran Space Force orbital station loomed ahead, its massive form eclipsing the stars behind it. Marcus's hands tightened on his ship's controls as warning signals flashed across his console. They detected something unusual about his ship's mass readings. Of course they had. You couldn't exactly hide a compressed cosmic dragon in your cargo hold without raising a few eyebrows. "Pathfinder 7, you are ordered to proceed to Quarantine Dock 13, a stern voice commanded over his comm. "Prepare for immediate inspection." In the cargo hold, Stellaris's mental voice touched Marcus's mind. "They will not show mercy if they find me." "Then they won't find you," Marcus muttered, his mind racing. He'd spent years learning the station systems, including its blind spots. "Hold on, this might get interesting." Marcus executed a series of precise maneuvers, using the station's own communication arrays as cover while he approached a maintenance dock on the station's underside. It was risky, one wrong move, and they'd crash into the station's hull. But it was their best chance at avoiding the security teams waiting at the quarantine dock. The maintenance dock's doors groaned open as Marcus transmitted his override codes, codes that technically he shouldn't have kept after his promotion to commander. The small dock was meant for repair drones, not personnel ships, but his vessel just barely fit. "Your heart rate is elevated," Stellaris observed. "You fear discovery." "I fear what they'd do to you," Marcus corrected, powering down his ship's main systems. "And what they'd do to Earth if they tried to weaponize you." He worked quickly, connecting his ship to the station's maintenance systems. To anyone monitoring, it would appear as just another automated repair drone docking for routine service. But they couldn't stay here long. A sharp bang on his ship's hull made Marcus freeze. "Commander Blackwood," a familiar voice called out. "I know you're in there." Marcus's heart sank as he recognized the voice of Lieutenant Commander Raina Torres, his former second-in-command. She'd been with him during the Proxima War, one of the few who'd survived, and now she was station security chief. "She approaches with concern, not hostility," Stellaris observed. "Perhaps truth is better than deception." Marcus considered his options. Raina knew him too well, she'd probably tracked him the moment he entered the station's space. And if Stellaris was right about her intentions. "Stand by for airlock breach," he transmitted back, making his decision. The airlock cycled and Raina entered, her dark eyes widening as she took in Marcus's disheveled appearance and the scorch marks on his envirosuit. "You look like hell, sir," she said, then frowned. "And according to these readings, you're not alone." "Raina," Marcus said carefully, "what I'm about to show you. It changes everything we thought we knew about space travel, about life itself." He paused. "But I need to know I can trust you." Raina holstered her weapon, her expression serious. "You saved my life at Proxima. I never forgot that. Whatever this is, I'm listening." Marcus led her to the cargo hold. As the doors slid open, Stellaris's compressed form filled the space, crystalline spines glowing softly in the dim light. Raina gasped, instinctively stepping back. "This is Stellaris," Marcus said, "and someone tried to kill them." Over the next hour, Marcus and Stellaris explained everything: the attack, the rescue, and the implications of a civilization that had been secretly hunting these ancient beings. Raina listened intently, her tactical mind clearly processing the ramifications. "The new weapons program," she said finally. "The one they've been so secretive about. It's connected to this, isn't it?" "Yes," Stellaris confirmed. They seek to harvest our essence, to twist our natural abilities into weapons of war. Many of my kind have already fallen. We need to get you off this station, Reyna decided, standing. But you'll need help, she smiled grimly. Lucky for you, I know just the people. There's a group of us officers who have seen too much, who know something's wrong with the current leadership. We've been gathering evidence, building a network. You're talking about treason, Marcus warned. I'm talking about doing what's right, Reyna countered. Just like you did at Proxima when you disobeyed orders to save us. A warning klaxon suddenly blared through the station. Alert! Unknown energy signature detected in Maintenance Sector 7. Security teams deploy immediately. They've detected Stellaris's energy signature, Marcus realized. We're out of time. Reyna was already moving. Take access tunnel C-17, she ordered. It leads to the civilian docks. I'll delay the security teams, buy you some time. She caught Marcus's arm. There's a safe house on Europa. I'll transmit the coordinates once you're clear. She speaks truth, Stellaris confirmed, and she has a warrior's heart like you. Marcus nodded. Be careful, Reyna, once they realize you helped us. I've been careful long enough, she replied, checking her weapon. Maybe it's time we all stopped being careful and started being right. As Marcus prepared his ship for emergency launch, he watched Reyna disappear down the corridor, already calling in false reports to confuse the security teams. He had started this mission alone, expecting to face whatever came by himself. Now he had not only a cosmic ally, but a network of humans ready to stand against corruption. Your kind surprises me, Stellaris commented as they prepared to launch. So much potential for destruction, yet also for profound loyalty and courage. That's humanity for you, Marcus said, initiating launch sequences. We're complicated. As they blasted away from the station, alarms blaring behind them, Marcus knew they had crossed a point of no return. But with Stellaris's power and Reyna's network of allies, maybe they had a chance to expose the truth and protect both their species. The stars stretched before them as they accelerated to full speed, and somewhere among them lay answers, and probably more than a few people who wouldn't want those answers found. But Marcus had never been one to take the easy path, and now he had a cause worth fighting for. Europa's endless ice fields stretched below Marcus's ship as he approached the coordinates Reyna had provided. The Jupiter-orbiting moon had become a hub for scientific research, its vast underground oceans hosting numerous research stations. The perfect place to hide or to conduct secret experiments. There are others of my kind here. Stellaris's mental voice carried an edge of pain. I can feel their suffering. Marcus checked his instruments. The safe house was supposedly hidden within an abandoned research outpost, but something about the energy readings seemed off. Are you sure about this? He asked, though he already knew the answer. 3 of my kin, Stellaris confirmed. Their song is distorted, wrong, they are being changed. The ship's comm crackled to life. Unidentified vessel, you are entering restricted airspace. Divert immediately. Marcus ignored the warning, diving his ship into one of Europa's notorious ice canyons. The massive walls of blue-white ice rose around them like frozen waves, providing cover from orbital detection. Commander, a new voice on the comm, one Marcus recognized. Dr. James Harrison, his old friend from the Proxima War's Medical Corps. Dock at entrance B7, hurry. They found the hidden landing bay carved into the ice, barely visible unless you knew exactly where to look. As the ship settled onto the pad, Marcus saw James waiting with 2 others, a tall woman in civilian clothes and a man wearing the insignia of Europa Science Division. Marcus Blackwood, James greeted as they disembarked. Still charging into trouble head first, I see. His smile faded as Stellaris emerged, the Nexus beast's compressed form still impressive even in its reduced state. Though this time you might have found more than even you can handle. The civilian woman stepped forward. I'm Dr. Alina Volkov, Theoretical Physics, and this is Chief Researcher Daniel Patel. She gestured to the science officer. We've been tracking the military's secret research program for months, but we never imagined. She trailed off, staring at Stellaris in wonder. You have seen what they do to my kind, Stellaris addressed them directly. All three humans started at the mental contact. Yes, Daniel said grimly. The military's Project Ascendant. They're trying to harness the Nexus Beast's ability to manipulate space-time, but the process is killing them. And the ones that survive, they're being transformed into something else, something dangerous. James led them deeper into the facility, through winding corridors carved from ice and rock. We've identified 3 main research sites, he explained. This one on Europa is the largest. They're keeping the transformed Nexus beasts here, studying how to control them. They reached a viewing window overlooking a massive chamber. Marcus felt Stellaris recoil in horror at what they saw. 3 Nexus beasts, their once magnificent forms twisted and warped. Their crystalline spines had been replaced with mechanical implants, their scales dulled to a sickly gray. They moved with jerky, unnatural motions, like puppets on strings. The military isn't working alone, Elena revealed, pulling up classified documents on a nearby screen. They're collaborating with the Arcturus Consortium, a group of corporations and corrupt officials from both human and alien governments. They're planning to use the transformed Nexus beasts as living weapons, a way to control space travel itself. My kin, Stellaris's mental voice was thick with grief. What have they done to you? We can't let this continue, Marcus said firmly. But a direct assault would be suicide. We need evidence, something that will expose the whole operation. Daniel stepped forward. That's where I come in. I've been collecting data, tracking money trails, recording the experiments. But the real proof is in the central database. If we can access it, we can reveal everything. Why haven't you done it already? Marcus asked. Because the database is quantum-locked, Elena explained. It requires both human authorization and something else. Something they extracted from the Nexus beasts. We think it's a form of their natural space-time manipulation ability. Stellaris moved closer to the window. I can provide what is needed, but to connect with the system, I must be at full strength, in my true form. That would trigger every alarm in the facility, James warned. Good, Marcus said, a plan forming in his mind. We need a distraction anyway. Elena, can you get us access to the control systems for the transformed Nexus beasts? Yes, but they're conditioning. They're not themselves anymore. They might attack anything, including Stellaris. They are my kin, Stellaris said firmly. Let me try to reach them. Under the corruption, their true nature may remain. The next hour was spent in careful preparation. Elena and Daniel worked to create a backdoor into the facility's systems, while James gathered what medical supplies he could. Marcus studied the facility layouts, planning their approach and escape routes. Once we start this, he told the group, there's no going back. The consortium will know we're here and they'll respond with everything they have. They've been operating in secret for too long, James said, checking his medical kit. It's time someone shed some light on what they're doing. Elena finished her work at the console. Control systems are ready. We can disable the restraints on the transformed Nexus beasts on your signal. Marcus looked at each of them, the doctor who'd patched him up countless times, the physicist who'd risked everything to uncover the truth, the researcher who'd gathered evidence at the cost of his career, and the cosmic being who'd trusted him when trust seemed impossible. Let's show them why you don't cage things that were meant to be free, he said. Stellaris's form began to glow, preparing to return to full size. Together then, Marcus Blackwood, let us bring truth to light. The facility's lights flickered as they began their mission, and somewhere above them, Europa's ice fields reflected the light of distant stars, stars that would soon witness either their triumph or their fall. But whatever came next, they would face it united, human and Nexus beast alike. The facility's emergency sirens blared as Stellaris returned to full form, their massive crystalline body filling the chamber with otherworldly light. The transformed Nexus beasts in the holding area stirred, their corrupted forms responding to the presence of one of their own kind. Security teams deploying to all sectors, the facility's AI announced. Unidentified energy signature detected. This is not a drill. Marcus positioned himself at the main control terminal, while Alina worked to disable the facility's defenses. James and Daniel took up positions by the doors, ready to warn of approaching security forces. "Containment fields disengaging," Alina reported, her fingers flying over the controls. "Stellaris, you'll have about 30 seconds before their backup systems activate." "It will be enough," Stellaris responded, their mental voice resonating with purpose. The great creature's crystalline spines pulsed with energy as they reached out to their imprisoned kin. The scene that followed would stay with Marcus forever. As the containment fields fell, the three corrupted Nexus beasts rose, their mechanical implants glowing with sickly light. For a moment, they seemed poised to attack. Then Stellaris's consciousness touched theirs. "Remember who you are," Stellaris's mental voice echoed through all their minds. "Remember the song of the stars, the dance of galaxies. You were not made to be weapons." The transformed beasts trembled, fighting against their conditioning. One of them, smaller than the others, with scales the color of tarnished silver, moved forward first. Its mechanical implants sparked and crackled as something of its original nature reasserted itself. "Sister," it managed, its mental voice weak but present. "We remember." "Multiple security teams converging on your location," James warned from his position. "We've got maybe 2 minutes." Marcus accessed the central database, ready for the next phase. "Stellaris, we need that quantum key now. Alina, start the data transfer the moment we're in." The four Nexus beasts moved in perfect synchronization, their combined energy creating patterns of light that seemed to fold space itself. The database's quantum locks responded, barriers falling one by one. "We're in," Alina exclaimed, initiating the data transfer. "Sending everything to our secure channels now. The whole world's going to see what they've been doing here." But they weren't done yet. The facility's doors burst open as heavily armed security forces poured in, led by a face Marcus had hoped never to see again, Admiral Victor Chen, the man who'd sentenced his squad to die at Proxima. "Commander Blackwood," Chen's voice was cold as Europa's ice. "Still fighting battles you don't understand, I see." "I understand well enough," Marcus replied, positioning himself between the Admiral and the control terminal. "I understand you've been torturing sentient beings, turning them into weapons. And for what? Power? Profit?" "For survival," Chen snapped. "You've seen what's out there, Blackwood. Other civilizations are advancing beyond us. The Nexus beasts could give us the edge we need. Sometimes sacrifice is necessary for progress." "You speak of sacrifice," Stellaris's mental voice boomed, "yet you sacrifice only others, never yourself." The corrupted Nexus beasts moved to flank Stellaris, their own implants now glowing with their natural energy rather than the sickly light of their conditioning. The security teams raised their weapons, but even they seemed to realize how outmatched they were. "The data's been transmitted," Alina announced. "It's over, Admiral. Every major news outlet in human space is receiving proof of what you've done." Chen's face contorted with rage. "Kill them all," he ordered. "Initiate Protocol Omega. If we can't control these creatures, no one will." Warning lights flashed as the facility's self-destruct sequence activated. But Chen had miscalculated. The Nexus beasts were no longer bound by his control systems, and their power had grown. "We will not die here," Stellaris declared. The four cosmic beings moved as one, their combined energy creating a bubble of warped space around Marcus and his allies. Through the distorted barrier, they watched as Chen and his forces fired uselessly at them. "The facility's going critical," Daniel warned. "We've got less than a minute." Marcus felt Stellaris's consciousness brush his mind. "Trust us, Marcus Blackwood, as we have trusted you." The bubble of warped space expanded, enveloping them completely. Marcus's last view of the facility was Chen's face, twisted with impotent fury, as reality itself seemed to fold around them. There was a sensation of movement, of passing through something vast and incomprehensible. Then they were outside, hovering above Europa's surface as the research facility imploded below them. The Nexus beasts had teleported them to safety, demonstrating a power that Chen had never managed to control or understand. By the stars, Elena breathed, steadying herself against James. That was beautiful, Marcus finished. He looked at Stellaris and their newly freed kin. What happens now? Now, Stellaris replied, we heal, and we remember those who helped us. Our kind has long watched your species, wondering if you were ready for deeper contact. Some, like Chen, proved we should remain hidden, but others, like you and your friends, have shown us another way. The four Nexus beasts began to glow brighter, their forms becoming almost too brilliant to look at. The mechanical implants on the freed beings were falling away, disintegrating as their natural forms reasserted themselves. This is not an ending, Stellaris continued, but a beginning. Your evidence will force changes in your governments, and we will no longer hide in shadows. Perhaps together we can forge something new. Marcus watched as the Nexus beasts began to rise, preparing to return to their natural habitat among the stars. But he knew this wouldn't be the last time he saw them. Something fundamental had changed in the universe today. A bridge had been built between two species, founded on trust and sacrifice. Safe travels, he called out to them. Try not to be strangers. Stellaris's mental laughter touched their minds. With you as our ambassador, Marcus Blackwood, I doubt we could stay away if we tried. As the Nexus beasts ascended, their light rivaling Jupiter's moons, Marcus stood with his unlikely team of conspirators turned heroes. They had struck a blow against corruption, freed imprisoned beings, and perhaps changed the course of human history. So, James said beside him, what do we do next? Marcus smiled, watching the cosmic beings disappear into the star-filled sky. Next, we make sure this never happens again, and we help build that bridge Stellaris talked about. After all, we've got friends in very high places now.